What is going on, guys? It's Mitch here, aka Royal Bacchus, and today I got the review for you guys for the Junji Maniac, Japanese Tales of the Macabre. I did the reaction for you guys for Hanging Balloon. That is an episode that I actually enjoyed. But I told you guys I was going to watch the full series. I got it all done, got it out of the way through the weekend, and with editing and stuff like that, and I also work. I finally got finished this, and I'm going to do a little review that I told you guys I would do. Before I get started though today, if you guys could drop a like and subscribe down below, it'd be greatly appreciated. I'm trying to bring you guys content at least a couple times a week. I got Logical Heroes as well. If you want to see that, I'll put it down in the links. It's a reaction channel for anime and any kind of TV show that's kind of coming out right now. But yeah, so I finally finished this series. 12 episodes. There's 2 shorts and then 1 short in these episodes, depending on the length and stuff like that. I can't remember the exact total off by hand. But for my first horror anime, I guess you could say, or the horror genre in anime, which I said in the last video, I have no prior history with it. I really want to get into stuff like that, or at least things that are in the genre. I know people are commenting down below saying that it's not really a big thing in anime. It's more of a theme than anything, but which I understand. But this was actually a really good thing for me to get into right at the start. I know Junji has manga and stuff like that as well. He has a ton of work done, and I've been told that if I didn't like this series, which I'm going to get into, I wouldn't say I disliked the whole series in particular, but I've heard his work with his actual stories and manga and stuff like that were a lot better, and it wasn't portrayed as it should have been on screen. Now, I have a few things that I liked, a few things I didn't, and I was seeing reviews and stuff like that of people giving it like a 2, 3, 4 out of 10 and stuff like that. I wouldn't agree that low. There was actually some episodes that I would say that I enjoyed. Right? And this is also, as well, before I get into the nitty-gritty of things, I'm going to give you pros and cons, episodes that I liked and disliked. I want you guys to know as well, though, I have not looked into his work yet. I'm going to 100%. After watching this, I might not think that it was the greatest piece of work done, but it also got me into this. So now I actually want to go out and look at his actual stories that he's done throughout the years. I know nothing about him, so I'm not going to compare anything in this review to his actual stuff to the TV show. I'm just letting you guys know that now, just in case that's what you're hoping for. But I'm going to get into it because there are some stuff that I think could go either way. So right off the bat, I want to talk about something that I think was really bothering me right off the start, because the first episode as well, I didn't like very much. That was the strange, I think I have it here, Hikazuri siblings, and it's kind of like a mixture. Like, the themes and tones in this series were really off to me. Just to start this off, we'll go on to a negative and then we'll jump right into positive after this. But the one thing that I didn't like was actually the intro theme song. And there's a reason why. So the first episode, which I believe shouldn't have been the first episode, and I'll get into that as well. I'm going to be jumping over myself this whole review. But the theme song right after the beginning, the atmosphere was not created. Now, the visuals right off the bat in the theme song or the opening intro were very intriguing. I think they were really cool. I thought they were really abstract, and I thought it brought everyone's attention in. But for me, when I had that music playing before let's say, a story of a schoolgirl that's going through this problem, or it's a very soft opening, and going from the transition of a really kind of intense intro and then going to something very soft, and it's kind of like a build-up, kind of it just didn't match for me. The first episode with the strange siblings or whatever, I didn't like that episode whatsoever, but I also thought that the intro worked with it a little bit because of how crazy and cartoonish that episode was. And like I said, that was one episode I really did not enjoy, but that was the only episode I think that the theme song actually transitioned into a proper episode. Sorry. And after that, when we're getting into things that are kind of more soft and more serious and stuff like that, it just didn't fit for me. So that was one of the first things that kind of I started noticing right off the bat. But But the atmosphere and the tones of episodes as well seemed a little off to me. They seemed very quick, or the transitions or the editing. I don't know what it really was that was... I just couldn't connect with anything. It felt like I was hopping into different scenes and stuff like that. And the tones and atmosphere for me, there was a few episodes that it did work, and then there's a lot of episodes that it didn't. I'll get into some positive stuff. Let's get into some positive stuff here. I thought the voice acting in this show was excellent. I really did. I thought that at the beginning, for some episodes as well, I thought that the animation was actually decent and it worked well with certain stories. But then in some other episodes, I thought it was janky. Like, it just seemed like it was very quickly done or very lazily done. And another thing that I actually enjoyed was the sound effects throughout. So like the little like creaks and stuff like that throughout these episodes and whatnot. I enjoyed those. There was little splotches here and there of horror theme stuff. I wouldn't say this is a scary show. It's unsettling in some episodes, I would say. And that's all I was really looking for. But there was also some episodes to me, and I'll get into it because really in essence, I think I have more negative stuff than positive stuff to say about this show, which kind of sucks because there are some good episodes that I thoroughly enjoyed, and I actually got people, friends, to go and watch these certain episodes. I didn't say the whole TV show because really in essence, if I were to have started off with the first 2 episodes before Hanging Balloon comes in, I don't know if I would have kept going. I really don't. I think the way that they kind of did this show with the shorts and like they organized it in the wrong way, in my opinion. I think there's some shorts that should have been in the front, some shorts that should have been in the back. Because really, in essence, I started actually liking the show, I think, halfway through. And which is not a good thing when you're trying to bring the audience in. But anyways, it was just, everything was just all over the place for me when watching this series. And I just kept falling in and out of the show. And I understand a lot of people, I was reading that people just gave up after like the first episode, which... Once again, I understand. There were some good episodes, though. I liked Hanging Balloon, obviously. I did the reaction for that. It's the first one I started off with, and I think that's the reason why I went all the way through with this. Layers of Terror, I thought was actually a decent story. I enjoyed that a lot. It was extremely eerie, and I just enjoyed it a lot. The Bully for me was enjoyable, but it seemed... like there was pieces missing. That was another kind of theme throughout this whole entire series, is I felt like there was pieces of the story missing, or things would happen and you're waiting for the climax and then nothing happens and it goes to credits or goes to the next short in that episode. So there's a lot of stuff like that. Headless Statue I actually enjoyed, which I didn't think I was going to. Whispering Woman, I think that's what it was called. The girl that was whispering in the back of the girl's ear and stuff like that. And you guys would know if you saw the episode. I enjoyed that one, but there was also a few like I said, the Strange Siblings. Wasn't a fan of. Sochi's Beloved Pet. I did not like to finish off the series with that episode. I thought was really dumb. That was probably my least favorite out of all of them. Like to kind of end on this like joking note, and it wasn't a very good episode. Kind of left a bad taste in my mouth at the end of it. So I had to kind of sit back a little bit or take a little break before I actually did my review, because I was actually nervous. Like, I can't let this episode be the thing that I kind of go into this with. And that episode of 4x4 Walls was another one that I thought the ending was extremely abrupt, and a lot of other ones are extremely abrupt as well. It just seemed like there was a lot of episodes that had this great potential, a good like start at the beginning, and then what ended up happening is it's building towards this thing, and then about 3/4 of the way through, it somehow just kind of dips a little bit and then just falls off a cliff right at the end. And it seemed that, and by the way, I don't know if this is what the actual stories are like. There are obviously people that are like authors and stuff like that, like Edgar Allan Poe, Lovecraft. I've read them all. There are boring stories. So I don't know if there's just a book of stories and they decided to pick a lot of the boring ones. I'm not 100% sure on that. But there were some stories that like just didn't interest me at all. I thought the ice cream, I can't remember the name of it, but the ice cream episode, I thought it was good for about the last 30 seconds, I guess. You kind of figured where it was kind of going, and I don't know. It just seemed like, I would say 2/3 of the show I didn't really care about. It was more of a thing, I got to get this done for the review rather than I'm actually enjoying this. The one thing, though, I'll throw out that I truly loved, and this was something that like I was telling people about, is this is shit I've never seen before. That's the one thing I loved about this series and why I want to start reading his actual work, is because of how abstract and out there everything that he does is. It is like night and day. I would say at least 90% of these stories that came out while watching this, I've never heard of an arena of where these stories could possibly be from. There's no examples I can pull from one story to this story. So him writing about this stuff and being so out there was actually really enjoyable for me. That was one huge part, that everything was extremely fresh. And I've loved and watched horror for I don't know how long. That's probably one of my favorite genres to watch of actual TV. And to see these ideas that I have never seen before, truly. And the thing is, too, is you think it's going one way, but it's completely not, and it throws you for a spin. But the problem is all the time, there was all these great ideas, and they would just fall flat at the end. It just felt like it was either edited, like either there's a bigger story and they kind of compressed it down into something, or it was more of a thing of maybe it is just this boring story that he decided to choose from his collection. I don't even know how. I have read nothing on this guy, by the way. So just a heads up for that as well. I don't know if they just kind of took some side stories that he's done that really weren't that great and they threw it into the series and decided, or we need this time to be filled. This is what we're going to fill it with. Not 100% sure, but it seemed a lot of them were unfinished, or they were rushed, or the ending just kind of came out of nowhere. So I'm not 100% sure about everything on that. Obviously, I'll have a better opinion when I do read it. But I'm trying to think of some other things here. Really, in essence, I would say that out of 10 for myself, I would have to go with maybe a 6.5 on this one. I think that these stories could have been told a lot better. I think that these stories could have been more kind of flushed out, I guess you could say. I also think that they could have done a little better with the animation. I know that they were trying to go for that kind of that look, right? I wasn't expecting to see like this crazy $1 million animation in this series, but I was also hoping for some like better background, and especially like there are some scenes where you look at the back characters and it almost looks like they like someone drew it in quick and just handed it in. So those are a few things. I in all honesty though, I would like to see another season of them. I really would. I'd like to see them actually put more time and effort, and if there are better stories, throw in better stories. And I hope they fix the problems that they had, because I really do think that they have something here. And it's something that I don't see a lot. Obviously, you guys know anime way more than I do. Me and Trev from Logical Heroes only got into anime last year. So this is kind of, we're dipping our toes still to this day when it comes to anime. But for me, it's just, I think they could make this good, but they have a lot to change. And obviously, it's going to be hard to bring back the people that love this guy's work, right? That's another thing too. I was getting messages from fans telling me or trying to explain to me that there's stuff that is missing. There's things that were done way better in the manga, or it was perceived better, or you were able to feel something more than you did in the show, and they seem to just skip right through it. So I think there's a lot of potential for them to bring out another series. I'll definitely watch it. But the thing is, though, is they have to start fixing these problems. And like I said, I can't say get better stories from his collection or treat the stories that he's created properly. I think that's the best way to put it. If they are cutting down his stories and then it's presented like this and they come out boring and stale with no climax at the end and it kind of just dies where it is, then don't come back with a new series, because then you're just ruining his work. So for me, if you're going to come back with a season 2, you guys know what to fix. There's people telling you all the problems, and I feel like we're all kind of on the same page with what we're all saying. But there are still positives, of course, while watching this. And like I said, hopefully they come back and 6.5 out of 10. But before I leave, guys, if you want to drop a like, subscribe down below, it'd be greatly appreciated. I'm trying to bring you content almost every day throughout the week. At least a couple, at least. And I also leave my Discord, Twitter, and Instagram down in the description for you guys. And until next time, see you later.